Hello everyone, here we are again. Today I will work on repairing a university network that a friend sent me. The repair will be done mostly for educational purposes, to get a general idea of the approach to a repair, the measurements that can be made, and in general, the steps we need to follow. So, sit back comfortably, turn up the volume, and let's get started. First of all, we need to identify the board, that thing we're holding. Here we see its screen and on the board. Let's start from the beginning. Here is the AC output that sends to the mains. I should say that the network inverter takes input from the panel and supplies our network with 220V. The panels go in here. This must be the DC input. In fact, it boosts the volts coming from the panels up to 220V. It creates the same phase and feeds it back into the grid. So here are the converters. They are power supplies. They take all the input voltages, 40, 50, 60 volts, that are supplied, and they boost them to 220, rectify them, and smooth them out. Then, with some other MOSFETs, they create the half-wave rectifier. They bring it into phase with the grid and feed it back. Here we have the series of MOSFETs that actually increase the voltage. They drive the transformers to operate and provide the 220V. And here at the end, we have a series of MOSFETs and Thyristors that create the half-wave rectifier, regulate it, and feed it back into the grid. Here, the section right next to this contains filters and connect to the network. And all these to function naturally require a controller, which will also be an oscillator and a regulator, that controls the MOSFETs and is located right here, and which receives power from this good one here, from a second power supply that has a small one beside it. And here, a 33V regulator is basically missing, which is also part of the coupler, which have been removed. I don't know why. And right next to them is the controller. Let's take a look at how it is underneath as well. We see here, outside the rectifiers, 2 coils related to programming. And they have replaced some MOSFETs and some heat sinks here. They have replaced them here, I see, but not very successfully, because we see here that it is disconnected. You can see here that the top trace has come off. Meanwhile, the board is double-sided, and they roughly follow where the track is. You see here the little leg moves, so it hasn't been soldered from above, and underneath the track is missing. So this is floating, as if it hasn't been attached at all. We have to be careful when removing components on a double-sided PCB to solder both on top and bottom, and when desoldering, try as much as possible not to remove the tracks. Or at least, when we remove the tracks, or if the tracks get burned anyway, to connect them to the bottom side of the board. And here we also see some missing connectors. I don't know if these are just holes here. They may not be missing. Anyway, an attempt has been made to repair this board, and here below, this is the power supply I mentioned that powers the controller and related parts. The second power supply it has for the controller. As I said, an attempt has been made to repair it. The original issue was that a fuse blew. When you plugged it in, the fuse blew. That was the problem. Nice circuit output. So I conclude that somewhere around the MOSFETs and the Thyristors is where my issue, my problem, lies to start with. Let me see what else I can observe visually. I will zoom in a bit here, so we can visually check at this spot what else might have happened. So we see here, as we said, besides the MOSFET, which we mentioned, has been replaced and resoldered, it's actually soldered in the air, but it's not even soldered. So we see here the little legs, as we said. They are detached, both on the top and the bottom. We also see a resistor here on top that appears burnt. You see, from this point it looks burnt, so probably both the MOSFETs and the Thyristors down here have a problem. This signal powers the Thyristors, which in turn power the MOSFETs. So, I won't take any measurements on the board now to check the status. So the MOSFETs and the Thyristor have to be removed from the top to repair the traces. And then I will continue. I will measure them off the board after removing them, and if they are good, I will put them back. Otherwise, I will replace them. Okay, I took them off from the top. So let's first see what it is. I should mention that I don't have a manual. I don't have yesterday's manual. So whatever I do it empirically. But the first MOSFET is 33N25. It says on top. It withstands 33A250V. It's a bit suspicious for an output MOSFET. We will see later how it goes. The 250V seems like a low voltage to me. And the Thyristor on the tongue is the S8008. Let's now measure to see if they are correct. I have shown in a previous video how to measure thyristors and MOSFETs. Now I will measure the thyristor to check if it has any short circuit. For starters, nothing else. Because to check it, I need to build a small circuit to test the thyristor. So empirically, check that the two main pins have a small resistance and the others have none. Then the thyristor is usually good. When it's burnt, I short all the legs together. Here we see that the throttle looks good now. Let's check the MOSFET to see what's happening. I measure here and see there is a short circuit. In the MOSFET, of course, no legs should be shorted together. We need to find a diode with two legs, like a diode, and the rest should be open. So this one is burnt. It is short-circuited. Therefore, I will test it. I will fix the tracks, install the Thyristor device, and for the MOSFET, I will use another one. I will also remove the other homosphere from the other side to check it thoroughly, and then I will continue. So here we have it. We will measure it in the same way. I will search. We agreed to find a two-way at the two small legs. Anti-trigger. They should have a diode here, and logically, anti-trigger with positive or PN, this 302 it shows must reset to 0. Here we see that it does not reset to 0. Although it seems fine, the MOSFET does not have a short circuit and does not trigger. So it is burned. I will now measure the resistor I showed you earlier that seemed burned. To make sure that it is burned. You see, it shows a similar reading from the resistor. It doesn't output anything, so this one is burnt out too. We will replace it. And I will measure. It also has various resistances. You see here, at the MOSFET gate. Usually, if the MOSFETs burn out, they short circuit. These resistors also get damaged. When the MOSFETs short circuit, these resistors also get damaged. There are some SMD components down here. I'll measure them. These show about 10 ohms from what I can see. I see here, we measure but get nothing. This one is also burned. There are also burned resistors, specifically the gate resistors. And I don't know if the driver below that controls them is also burned because voltage likely passed through the gate. It hasn't burned resistors, and I don't know if the driver or an integrated driver chip here might be burned. A complete fuse here, from what I see. And the other fuse is burnt, as we can see here. It shows 0, so the other one is definitely burnt too. You can see here. It shows 99 kiloohms, meaning from the 10 ohms you can find, it goes up to 90 kiloohms. It's a big difference. I will replace them with these ones. So, what I'm doing here now, I said I will replace the two MOSFETs. I will fix the tracks. I will change the burnt fuses we found, and I will try to see. I will measure later to see if there is a problem with the relay, or with something else. That is, if there's still a problem, if you look at the relay, or the problem persists. So what I observe now is that this MOSFET is 20N60. That means it withstands 600 V at 20A. This is a MOSFET for output. So it seems better for MOSFET output. So the other one is probably the same. We had simply used a 33N25, and the triac is the BT152, which is indeed equivalent because some are quite confusing. But the 250 volts are too low for the output. That means they are rated for hourly use. So I'll set both to 20 or 60. I will now show you the measurements. We will compare the measurements of the two MOSFETs we took, the burnt ones and the good one, which is the third, 20 or 60. So we will go to the first MOSFET. As we said, we measure until we find a diode. On the first MOSFET, we have the diode here. You see it? And you need to trigger with a plus or with 0 padding on this value. I have shown it in a previous video. If you check out more of my videos, you can see the measurement I do with the oscillator. You see, this does not get triggered, so it's burnt. First, we measure the second MOSFET and demonstrate that it is short-circuited everywhere. So this one is also faulty. Now, we will look at the good one and see how it should behave. Look here. We said we're looking to check the diode. Here is the thread. And we trigger it with the plus. You see it reset. We pause the washing machine and trigger it. And it returns with plus. It zeroes out. With plus it returns and can zero out. It returns. And it can also be reset manually with plus. It resets even if we short circuit, pressing the buttons with a finger. Watch. It reset. You see, this is correct because it also triggers. This is how we check the MOSFETs. And let's take a look at a bit at the Thyristors as well. The S8. The S8008. So the two expensive legs will show a small resistance, and the rest show nothing. This is their logic. You see here. The two pins show a short circuit. I will put the diode tester on resistance mode to check it. Wait a minute, I'll show you. I will set it to ohms. The two pins should show around 130 to 150 ohms. And the other pins show nothing on the diode tester. There, we are not 100% sure that the Thyristor is working. We see that it is definitely not short-circuited. If we connect the multimeter I showed you in a previous video, we can check and be sure that the card actually works. But usually the MOSFETs, the Thyristor, when they burn out, short-circuit the pins together. So I fixed the tracks. I bridged the lines that had been cut. I replaced the MOSFETs with the Thyristors themselves. Let's proceed with a test to check if there are any other issues. So what shall we do? If I plug it in now, as he said, a small 2A fuse will blow. And if the controller has a problem, the MOSFETs will burn out again. Because I will send them a pulse, they will remain open, and the MOSFETs will burn out again. Here you see the round relay I have installed. I have set these and the missing optocoupler like this. To prevent the MOSFETs from burning out again, I will put a lamp, you see. About 60 to 100 W, that is with the phase with the outlet in the live line. I will connect a lamp of about 100 watts, 220 V, in series with the phase and plug it into the outlet. The lamp will function as a fuse, so if there's another short circuit downstream, the lamp stays lit and does not burn out on the MOSFETs. This is a trick we usually use on older measurements. We cannot take voltage measurements, because I also handle the components directly. If we put it on a rail, the components start, and this way we protect the components so they don't get burnt, and we avoid searching for unexpected faults. And right here, we see exactly what I was telling you. The university doesn't start. The lamp stays lit and starts flickering. It always starts and stops, cutting out. So we have another problem. If I had set it up almost without a lamp, it would have burned the MOSFETs again. We have another problem, and it will be either with the oscillator, the integrated circuit you see here, which drives the MOSFETs. This is the integrated circuit, from what I saw. It works as a switch and inverter. of the pulse. So either this has a problem or the driver does, which is the large integrated controller next to it. I will check, first of all, the controller to see if it works properly. This is it here. You see here on the connector, I have connected my power supply, a separate 12V supply, since I cannot plug it in to start normally. I will power it externally using my power supply. I have found where the SIM connects on the multimeter, the 12V, and I will supply them directly here to measure and check if it receives the correct voltage at the controller. There is also an indicator light next to it, which does not light up. Normally it should light up if the controller is working. So I think the problem is here. So I have connected my power supply. I have supplied 12V. Let's measure to check if it works first, and it does. To confirm the regulator I connected my power supply and supplied 12V, and that the controller is getting voltage. I'll add wiring here. The regulator is over here, which is the main part I've soldered. After the input, I have 12V from the power supply. At the regulator's output, I have 3V, so the regulator is working perfectly. And they go to the controller. And here, the 3V. You see here. So logically, now the light should turn on and send pulses out, as I am only a beginner, from what I saw from the database of the controller. And the other observation I make is that I see in my power supply that it draws 600 milliamperes, and the integrated circuit heats up. So another indication that it's burnt out is the controller. From the current it draws, the power supply, and that the integrated circuit is heating up. The other thing I can do is remove the controller and see if the power supply stops. It is drawing 600 milliamperes. It seems like a lot for an integrated circuit. By itself, the space won't do anything. So I take out the integrated circuit, and now I will measure. To see, I apply voltage. I see that the power supply is not drawing anything, 0.1 amps. So the only thing that it works, it's obviously the raw Galorio, which should also make 3 trips. Yes, still, and it has actually zebra chiclosate as well, because the 600 millimeters is like a brachicloma. She sees it. It's a lot for a complete design on its own, so it has burned out. And the controller. And here I will stop my video. I can't continue. I need to look for it, my dear. I need to find the complete specific one. It is programmable, so I need to get it from the company. If I find the company in China, anyway, I will try to find it. And I will continue the video if I find it too. So stay tuned to my channel. If the second video comes out, watch it. If the second video comes out, watch it. Well, if you liked the video, give it a like. I'm waiting for your comments, and I hope I didn't tire you. Hello, everyone.